Hi everyone, I'm Nate,
Good everyone, I'm Michael.
and we are the Olympic Ultras. As you may know, if you've been keeping an eye on the social media pages and things like that, the next week, exactly 1 week from now, is the Hellenic Cup 2025, which is really, really exciting. Second iteration of the newer version of the Hellenic Cup. Brisbane Olympic obviously hosted it last year, which was a really fun weekend.
It was a
Um,
fantastic weekend.
yeah, unfortunately got rained down on the third day. We're hoping that doesn't happen this time. But the squads for the last time were Sydney Olympic, Darwin Olympic, and Heidelberg. Heidelberg is actually returning this year, which is absolutely fantastic. So you would have seen confirmation that the three teams are Heidelberg United, Surfers Paradise Apollo, and MA Olympic, who are up in Townsville.
Certainly looking forward to seeing those particular clubs play.
Yeah, I am too. I've always been interested, especially considering Olympic announced, I think last year, Brisbane Olympic announced last year a partnership with MA Olympic. So I was hoping that they'd be a little bit more involved in that sort of stuff, which is really really cool.
Yeah, not wrong.
So what are you looking forward to this iteration?
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the two new clubs, which are both MA Olympic and Service Paradise Apollo.
Hmm.
Yes, they are regional clubs, and one's from down the Gold Coast, as you said, one's from Townsville, but just a bit different kind of football, where they approach things, different level of playing styles, which will certainly be a test for ourselves.
Oh,
As
exactly.
you mentioned earlier, we had Heidelberg last year, so we kind of got an idea how Heidelberg perform,
Hmm.
what their strengths and weaknesses are. But MA Olympic and Service Paradise Apollo will be fantastic to watch.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And like I said, last year was filled full of Greek food, Greek music, real nice celebration of the Greek culture and the Greek culture inside Australia, which is really really fun and really fantastic. Good football as well. So I'm expecting this year to be very much very very similar. So if you can get down, please do get down see the lads play. And I believe Darwin Olympic is bringing a youth team rather than sending their senior team. So Darwin Olympic itself isn't being a part of the Hellenic Cup, but they're bringing a youth squad down to play against Brisbane Olympics youth squads, which is really really cool.
It is fantastic. It's and then again an ever increasing development of that club and the club's juniors and the way they approach football and how they better themselves as a unit, and
Yeah,
that's really exciting.
and Brisbane Olympic was just recently awarded the Club of the Year, I believe, through Football Queensland last
Absolutely.
year. So that'll be really, really good for us as well. And again, good experience for the juniors, as you said earlier, playing against teams of different calibers, different ways of doing things, different ways of approaching things. So it can only be beneficial to our academy kids.
Yeah, as you said, both for Darwin and our lads, and
Yep.
and see they approach their game from a different level.
Yeah, exactly. So we've done a little bit of research ourselves because we didn't know too much. Being not necessarily from a Greek background ourselves, this is all a new world that we're looking forward and looking into. So we've done a little bit of background on some of the clubs that are coming in this year for the 2025 Hellenic Cup. Did you want to talk about MA Olympic?
Well, MA Olympic were established in the 60s as Mugden Borough Olympic Soccer Club. They had a lot of merge and changes. Very strong club, what I gather. Very, very strong club indeed. They've done very well up there in North Queensland. A couple of mergers. They merged with Olympic Football Club. Then they merged with Aikenville Football Club and finally become MA Olympic Football Club.
Yep.
So they've certainly transformed themselves over a number of years into a very powerful unit.
Hmm.
And again, looking forward to that.
Yeah, definitely. And it seems to follow from what we see with a lot of the ethnic-based clubs, and I think both Heidelberg and Apollo will have the exact same storyline. That they've had to change their name several times over the years. They haven't been able to hold on to the same name for
Yeah,
varying reasons,
yeah.
um, which has been well documented. But it is interesting following the history all the way through and the mergers and the name changes and things like that.
Which I've been involved with Australian football for a lot of years.
Hmm.
And as an Australian, I, for one, would love to see the old names come back.
Yeah.
I think it adds a touch of mystery. It adds a touch of
culture.
culture to the league. And let's face it, without our wonderful immigrant population, whether it be Greeks, Italians, Croatians, we wouldn't have a football league in this country. We wouldn't have
Oh,
a
exactly.
competition.
Yeah.
And we have so much to thank for our immigrant people coming in and establishing these competitions and these teams.
Yeah, fully
And
agree.
you can't thank them enough.
Yeah. And in my footballing time, it's very much been the anglicized names. I never really got to see the ethnic names or the old NSL really. We followed the Brisbane Structures, but I was a child then, and things like that. So I would love a return because Australia is a multicultural country. We do have a lot of immigrants and a lot of people from different cultures, different countries all over the world. Um, Even demographics that you wouldn't even expect to be
Mm,
in this
mm.
country are, and I would love to see a return to that. And actually, a really, really good segue into that is the history of Heidelberg United, which I looked into, because they were actually found as Alexander the Great.
Yeah.
That was their name. That was their original name back in '57. They were founded by the Clifton Hill Social Club. And shortly after that, they did separate from the Clifton Hill Social Club, but they did become a main sponsor of them, and they continue being called Alexander the Great, going through the Victorian Amateur Soccer Association, continuing to climb those ladders and continuing to push and push and win titles after titles after titles until they eventually end up becoming into the National Soccer League. They were one of the founding teams of the National Soccer League. At that point was Fitzroy United Alexander Soccer Club, because they were stationed at Fitzroy at the time. Just after their acceptance into the NSL and after they really started competing on the forefront of Australian football, they had talks to move to Heidelberg, to move to the Melbourne Olympic Village there for the Melbourne Olympic Games in the 50s, of which they still exist. They still exist at the Olympic Village, the Olympic Park at the moment, except now they are called Heidelberg United after several name changes and things like that due to the well-documented ethnic changes. However, Heidelberg has just continued to push Victorian football forward, even Australian football forward. They were actually part of last year as well, but they've been made it to the Australia Cup proper on 6 different occasions and 4 times in the quarterfinals, which is ridiculous. They've had to play several A-League clubs and beat several A-League clubs in those moments as well. So it's an extremely fantastic achievement for them to be on the forefront of not only Victorian football, but Australian football for so long.
Mm. I have to agree. I mean, I'm of the age where I've had the pleasure of seeing the NSL back in the day. You had your Heidelbergs and your South Melbournes and your Footscray JUSTs and your Sydney City football clubs and your Brisbane Cities and so forth. And it was just a fantastic moment of football history. The crowds are big. The football was fantastic. It was just good, hard, grassroots, brilliant football. And I relish those days. I miss those days. Whilst we have the A-League, I still think it's not as good as the old NSL.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But the NSL had certainly something about it. So I had the pleasure of going to Heidelberg on a couple of occasions to see my team play. And brilliant ground, brilliant, fantastic facilities.
Yeah, fantastic. And Surfers Paradise Apollo being the last.
Yes, looking forward to them too. Another football club that I've never had the pleasure to see, so I'm not too sure where they come from as far as their experience and what they have to offer, but it's going to be exciting. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, fantastic. Did you look into the history of that one?
I did look into the history a little bit. They were formed, I forget what year they were formed in, but again, they were formed by a Greek gentleman. They played in the early days sharing a football ground with the local AFL team down there. They moved to the Isle of Capri, where they've established themselves. They're now fully fledged. They were called Apollo Football Club at one stage. They're now called Surfers Paradise Football Club because Surfers Paradise is the closest suburb to where they are now based.
Right.
So it represents the area of Surfers Paradise. So hopefully the people in that area coming along and support them as they should be supported.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to them. There's not a lot of history to them that I can see,
Hmm.
but it's going to be exciting.
Fantastic. And Fumi Sono, our midfield general, came from Service Paradise Apollo, I
He
believe.
did,
Actually, a
yes,
couple of years ago when Service Paradise shot all the way up the leagues, and then for unfortunately for certain administrative reasons,
yes,
had to be pushed all the way back down again. Unfortunately for them, fortunately for us, they saved us and they kept us in the NPL. Um,
yes. So we
you know,
have a lot to be thankful for.
yeah, exactly. It's a little bit of a weird twist of fate, due to what happened to
Mm,
them allowed us to stay, and we had our Australia Cup run last year, and all these things happened because of that moment. So it's a nice little interesting twist of fate, and
mm.
it might add a little bit of spice to the Brisbane Olympic Surface Paradise Apollo game that will be on.
Yeah, let's hope so. We like a bit of
Yeah,
spice in our game.
yeah, exactly. But no, I'm really looking forward to the weekend. So that is the weekend of the 24th, the 25th, and the 26th of January, the Australia Day weekend. It doesn't take up your public holiday. You'll still have your public holiday on Monday to recover, have a barbie or something like that,
Yep,
which is
yep.
fantastic. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. We'll be there all weekend.
Yeah,
Uh,
you better believe it.
yeah, we'll have our banner up and we'll have a surprise or two waiting.
Yeah, you'll notice. You'll see us there.
You'll see us.
You'll definitely see us there.
And what about the rest of the season for you? This is a bit of a this is the opening event for Brisbane
It
Olympic.
is the only event of a lot of football for the 2025 season coming through. So after that we have the Cup,
Mm-hmm.
the Cup Pro Series, which I'm looking forward to as well.
Yep.
The girls also have the Cup series coming through,
And both of us are
and then
playing
we
Morning
start.
City.
And they're both playing Morton City, which is quite extraordinary. I
Yeah.
think that was quite a different twist of what was going on there. But yeah, looking forward to the Cup, and of course we go into the season proper come February.
Yep. And the men have made some really interesting signings, really key signings that I'm really interested in seeing.
Yeah, yeah. I think we'll do okay. I think
People do
we've
all right.
strengthened our midfield. We've strengthened our centre back position. Uh, I think there's probably one or two more twists to come.
Yep. I'm
Yeah, I
sure.
think we're going to be a much stronger squad than we were last year.
Yeah, and I think I said to you before, I'm really excited for not only Jack Hudson because being a defender myself, I have an affinity with defenders. I love defenders and I love the art of defending and things like that.
Mm,
So I'm excited for Jack Hudson to come in. But I was trying to find videos of Hiroshi Miyazawa as much as I could. And I think I've said to you before, he scores penalties with his right. So you'd assume he's right footed, but he scores absolute bangers with his left.
oh, some of the film clips I've seen, as I said to you once before during a discussion, if he plays half as good as what I've seen him in film clips, he'll be amazing.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to seeing Hiroshi play. I'm really looking forward to seeing Jack play. Really looking forward to see a lot of the boys back as well. Actually, obviously, some of the re-signings through me being one of them. Lugo and Lex have come through as well, and I'm sure there'll be more in the um,
Yep.
coming days, especially leading up to the Hellenic Cup. So yeah, very very exciting. Can't wait for the season.
Oh, no. Itching, itching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Cool. I guess we'll leave it there, and we'll see you guys at the Hellenic Cup.
You take care. Look out for us. We'll be there. Come say hello.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye.